podcast boom is absolutely real, and I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you need to jump on that bandwagon. This is something that I've been challenged to do. I've been challenged to keep it down, so it's a tight, fast-moving episode, but don't worry, there is a workbook that you can download after the show and get more of the information from what's covered in this episode. The main lesson here, you must jump on this bandwagon because absolutely the boom is real. So let's get into the show. Welcome to Podcast Done For You, the show where we make it as easy as possible for you to make the right choices to advance your podcasting career. So let's get started on the show. The podcast boom is real, and here's why you are behind. Welcome to another episode of Podcast Done For You show. Now, this is a topic I've been charged with putting together. Is it a real boom? And why does it matter for you? Well, I'm going to tell you right from the start, the podcast boom is absolutely real. I heard someone refer to it recently as the golden age of podcasts. And I'm going to dwell too much on this because what I want to do is get into 10 really important reasons why it is so important that you hop on the bandwagon. What I want to preface it with saying is have a look at radio and the strength of talk radio. It has been strong for decades, continues to be the number one ranking stations everywhere. Why? Because people like to listen to people and engage with stories. It is no different for business. So let's get into the podcast boom because it is absolutely real. And why you are behind? Well, here are some 10 reasons for you to consider. Number one, AI versus authority. Now, I want you to think about how you need to differentiate yourself in the market because the truth is people are using AI more and more for everything that is written. So if you want to stand out, then you need to be authentic. And to be authentic, you need to be you talking. Now, doesn't mean you can't use an AI. You can use an AI based on what you've actually said rather than trying to make stuff up from nowhere. So if you want to build authority, you want to differentiate yourself in the market because it's about you, then number one reason, absolutely, you need to get on the podcast bandwagon. Number two, elevate your expertise. That's right. You want to elevate your expertise. What does that mean? Well, here's the thing. Why do you start a podcast? You want to build your brand. You want to be seen as the go-to person. You want more people coming to you. Well, if you want to be elevated, then you need a podcast. Now, we've talked about it before on this show. You absolutely need a co-host and check out the episodes about that if you want to know more about why that is so important. But you have to be positioned as the expert on your show. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have a, doctorate and a whole series of studying and be, 60 years old and all of that. You don't need all of that. You just need to be a step ahead of where the people that are going to buy from you are. And more than likely, you're many steps ahead. So you want your expertise to be elevated, and a podcast is going to do that. The number three reason, stories and insights. That's why people choose you. If you think about it, people do business with people. And how do we relate to people? Well, we relate to them when we hear their stories and what they think about certain situations. It's no different to friends, right? When you catch up with friends, you trade stories, you share insights, and it's why you keep coming back and you sustain that friendship. Well, your audience wants the same with you. So build that. Let them choose you. I'll give you another good reason. Number four, I think we're up to, and this is it's all about the idea of media and the perception around media. Now, I talked earlier about the value of talk radio. Well, when it comes down to it, talk radio is a good symbol of how people, when they hear that you're in the media, and the podcast is part of that, there's a certain gravitas that comes with it. It's beyond, I would say, just writing a book for me. Books, I'm not putting down books at all by any stretch, but it's like you get even further elevated by having a form of media that is out there and putting you out there. It's a perception around your brand and what you build with it. That is a really critical idea, because you keep building your brand with a podcast, and the perception around your value and what you can bring to the table is dramatically increased beyond what they can get with just a simple meeting with you, because there becomes a whole catalog of material. Which leads me into number 5. It is the relationship build, right? If we go back to this whole idea, the podcast boom is real. Here's why you are behind, is because, quite frankly, if you are down to building relationships by maybe sending out a newsletter, the odd post on social media, and more than likely it's just picking up the phone once in a blue moon and having a meeting once, twice, maybe if you're lucky 4 times a year, then you're not doing much to build the relationships with people, not just your existing clients, not just your suppliers, but the potential clients. Build that relationship with them. This is the greatest tool that you can have to build that relationship without actually spending time with every single individual separately. So, relationship building, number 5, we're halfway there. It is super critical that you think about this as part of your strategy. Get into it right away, because you are behind, right? Because right now, the common thing that I hear from people, which is reason number 6, you want to attract new opportunities. Now, that could be new opportunities in the existing work. It could be opportunities that you hadn't even thought of that will come your way. If you put yourself out there, you are going to get more opportunities. And if you think it's just going to happen by putting the odd social media post, think again, because that goes back to reason number 1, because so much of that stuff is being written by AI and is being so heavily curated, and you're at the mercy of a feed. Why not have something that has a greater opportunity for you? Here's the thing, and I'm going to put this into number 6, but maybe it should be considered as the bonus number 11, because we've still got another few to get to first, is remember, when you're putting your podcast out, it's on YouTube as well. Both YouTube and Google search engines. So it's not just about the actual episode, not just about the podcast, but it's about the individual episodes. The individual episodes create new opportunities because that content is consistently discoverable. Whereas if you post something on social media, here today, gone the next. In terms of Twitter X, it's gone in seconds. So you need to be out there attracting new opportunities. Let's come to number 7. You are more shareable if you have a podcast. It is very difficult for me to have a conversation with you about this business or that business, because they may not be related to anything we would normally talk about. However, if I say to you, hey, I was listening to a great podcast about an accountant, and check out the Bucket List Accountant, I've mentioned it before on the show, and if you listen to the Bucket List Accountant, you might get some interesting ideas out of it. Now, I'm not telling you to go and change accountants. I'm not even asking you whether you've got an accountant or not. I'm just saying you're going to get some really valuable information out of this. Check it out. It's a great way to be able to share. It's an easy conversation to have. It works really well in networking as well. Stand out in a networking event. Here, everybody, please subscribe. Next meeting, hey, John, could you do me a favor? Could you please review the latest podcast episode? And in my 30 seconds that I'm standing up, I'm going to give it to you to talk about that. Instead, I'm going to talk about you. Great way to mix it up and do those things. Many, many more ideas with that. And that is a great way of doing it. Now, number 8, we come to its value for existing clients. Remember, when you have existing clients, you can't keep talking to them. And sometimes there's information that you want them to come back to and think about again. Well, here's the thing, that when you've got a podcast, they can go back to it. Not only that, they can share it with other people in their business or their partners. That's exactly what I was referring to a little bit in the point before, that the huge value in the shareability is massive. But it's value to existing clients because you're able to say to them, hey, check this out, and share it with your team, share it with your partner that is not able to be at the meeting. You can give them information about what you're doing by setting it up through the podcast. So let's come to number 9, right? Here it is, 1.5 billion reasons. That is the amount of people that are listening to podcasts each and every month. And they listen to multiple podcasts at that. So the opportunity is there. It's the time to get out there. It's, people say to me, oh, there's enough podcasts. Are you kidding me? Every one of your businesses that you know has a podcast, right? All your competitors, they have has a website. Let me scrap that. They all have a website. Some of them might have a podcast, not all of them. Here's the thing. A website is a very flat idea. So if you have a flat website that doesn't have much personality, you're the same as everybody else. The podcast is the real you. Gives you that opportunity for all of those reasons that we've raised above and to be part of that 1.5 billion listeners every month. Why not be part of that? The thing is, even if your competitors have a podcast, they're not you. And go back to what we were saying in point number 3, stories and insights. Share your stories and insights. That's what's differentiating you in the market. So let's come to the most valuable one, number 10. Because podcasting is more than just podcasting. Yes, let me repeat, podcasting is more than just podcasting. It is about a system. It is what I call a cascading effect. Podcasts are your authentic voice. The value of that is once you have that, you can turn it into a myriad of different pieces of content and feed that to multiple different platforms, use it in multiple different ways, from the obvious social media and YouTube to newsletters and website content. But also, what about emails going out to people? What about in sequences going to people who are in your pipeline? What about direct messaging, pointing people to parts of the content? What about using it to develop a training program? What about developing a book as a result of it? There are so many things that you can do as a result of having a podcast. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So there you go. The 10 reasons why I believe the podcast boom is absolutely real and why you are behind if you're not jumping on that bandwagon. If I can help in any way, podcast done for you. Details are in the show notes. We love your feedback, so please don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe, but drop in a comment or even send me a direct message. Details of how to get in touch, as I said, are in the show notes. Until next time, I look forward to your company on Podcast Done For You show.